So yeah, thank you for attending today's webinar, which is brought to you through SafeVet's community platform, Fish Tech Connect. My name is Inga, and I am the Executive Director here at SafeVet. It's great to see some regular names, and I think I can see a couple of new members as well. So also for those watching the recorded event, if you're not part of the live session and you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out through Fish Tech Connect platform. You can do that directly to Tom at Tom Rossiter, or myself, Inga, through at SafeVet Team. You can also email Tom, which we just shared that address, which is contact@catchcam.tech. And we'll share all the contact details post-event. So before we move on to the presentation, I'd like to introduce Tom, co-founder of and CEO at CatchCam. So Tom combines hands-on fishing experience with marine science, technology development, commercial seafood expertise. I think lots of us can relate to Tom when he shared that he's more comfortable in waterproofs than a suit, and passionate about doing things better. So he believes in the power of collaboration, knowing that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Tom leads a team creating innovative tools that support sustainable fishing practices and providing crucial underwater insights. So much of his time is spent engaging with other innovators and technology providers to connect the dots and deliver practical end-to-end solutions that make a real difference on the water. So after reading Tom's bio, basically my thoughts were that Tom is the perfect innovator. He's got that hands-on experience. He's seen the problems and the challenges with his own eyes, and he has that can-do attitude which delivers on solutions. So I'm very excited for Tom to be joining us today. Without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Tom, and he is presenting Sustainable Fisheries, how collaboration and on-gear technologies are changing fisheries for the better. So I will stop speaking now, and I will turn off my audio and video and
Thank you very much, Inga, and good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you find yourself right now. So yeah, as Inga said, I am Tom Rossiter, co-founder of CatchCam Technologies, and today I want to do a quick overview on what we are doing in our business. Probably much more importantly, collaboration and the areas for collaboration that are ongoing in sustainable fisheries as a whole. So I'll start by giving a little bit about the company, who we are, what we are. There's a vision on the screen, but we're a small company based here in the UK, and we make underwater technologies for gathered data in challenging, difficult environments, which is where fishing takes place. But that technology and the information gathered can be really, really useful. And it's not just the hardware, it's the software to support that. And, that's from interaction, user interface through to the data process and extracting the valued information from the end of it. So we've got 3 core products within the business. We've got CatCam, which is an underwater camera system. We have SeaSensor, which is an oceanographic sensor system. And we've got Pisces, which are underwater lights. All have been designed for the fishing industry and for daily deployment and use in said industries. We also provide other services. Not everybody might need the products as they are off the shelf, so we can make modifications bespoke to customer needs, software, hardware, etc. And we also offer kind of consultancy around deploying them in the field, and very often have somebody who has experience of deployment and probably working timelines. So we can come in and do that. Okay, so now I want to quickly just run through some technologies out there that are using really innovative on-gear development to really push the envelope in terms of fishing and where we're going in the future. And one of the first that springs to mind is Ocean, what they've done in Norway, where they've actually opened a fishery for scallops, which has been closed since the 90s. I think early 90s it was closed for dredging. And they've developed a system for harvesting that doesn't use dredge, that actually doesn't impact on the seabed, and captures this very sustainable product. The stocks are in a fantastic state, and it's just this is all driven by technology. So this is happening. This is live. This isn't pipe dream. Another company from Norway that again on gear technology, and this is the gear you're looking at here in the picture, and it's Avish, and they're using a system of lights and cameras to attract, the lights are there to attract krill to pumping system that then just basically sucks the krill up into the vessel, and has minimal impact on the environment. The cameras and sensors are on there to understand what's going on. But yeah, really, really low impact, very, very precise fishing technology. Another Norwegian company, and I guess it's no surprise that we've got so many Norwegians, or I have so many Norwegians here that, they have a reputation. They're very, very innovative people. They've got a profitable industry. They've got sustainable industry. There's things we can learn from that. So there's a new vessel that's actually starting fishing just about now. And it's got a brand new concept where you basically disconnect the quad end, as you can see on the right-hand image here, from the main body of the trawl. You connect it to a coupling, which is beneath water line at the stern of the vessel. And basically what they're going to do is pour the fish into a hole to keep the fish alive, bearing in mind that the fish are alive in the cod end at this stage. So maximizing quality, and pushing the envelope again when it comes to technology. Company I'm sure many of you here today will be very, very familiar with, but another company that's pushing the envelope in terms of underwater technology, on gear technologies, Flomo. Really innovative. A lot of time and effort and money. This project, Flomo's been running for well over 10 years. Many, many millions of New Zealand dollars have been invested in this, but they're showing some real significant success, which is fantastic. The benefits of their system are, again, catch welfare, but also selectivity. We don't have diamond meshes. And see in the image on the right some holes where the fish can escape. Those holes will be made to be the same size as the fish. So very, very innovative. But we need technologies such as cameras and sensors, etc., down there to really optimize the potential of that technology. Here's a really innovative technology from the UK called Smart Trawl that's been developed through Heriot-Watt University and Fisheries, Innovation Sustainability, and it's looking at selecting fish in real time down in the net. So it's almost, you can imagine, do we want to keep that fish or do we want to let it escape? That's what this technology potentially gives you. And here within this system, you've got a camera system that'll identify fish, and it knows what is in the net. And then there's a gate. And this is a really innovative design for a gate because it doesn't use any batteries. It basically uses the water flow. which is a really simple, practical, and effective approach. You start putting, servos and all the rest down there to drive something to go wrong. This won't work in that environment, certainly not commercial environment. So, really innovative technology and approach being applied to fisheries. Another company we've done some work with in Canada, and this is quite radical. And I remember the first time I spoke to Mark at Echelon, I was like, "What's that guy crazy?" But he's not. He has a vision for actually using the trawl as a tool for catching fish, but actually having zero ground contact, and doing away with trawl doors, etc., flying the net over the bottom and not into the bottom. And they've come a long way with this. They've still got a way to go, but really, really innovative ideas that again, it's using on-gear technology to make things happen and take it forward. Another UK company here called Tide 2030, and this is a really interesting idea around harvest and processing. And in essence, what their Tide 2030 are doing is really building the kind of the vessels for the future, or the processes for the future, where you're getting a constant feed via pump from the fishing gear, net, the trawl, and that product is traveling up through a pump system onto the vessel with active selection built into the process, similar to what I was speaking about earlier with smart trawl. And then on the processing side on the vessel, you're getting the freshest possible fish up on the vessel. It's not coming in large batches, because that in essence is what we do. Factories generally don't work with batch processing to the same extent that we do on fishing vessels. And what these guys are looking to do is to kind of streamline the process on board the vessel to closer reflect what you might see on a factory floor, with the benefits of crew welfare, fish welfare, product quality. Yeah, and it's very much going to be the future of fishing, and a big part of that is on gear technology, such as camera systems and sensors to know where the fish are, when they're there, and feed that process through. Another really interesting and innovative approach has been Fish Tech Marine and what they've done with disco scallops. Sure, everybody's heard of disco scallops, and it's a fantastic approach using lights, and they've done it by accident, but have developed the technology around it. You can see here in the image, the entrance to the trap is slightly different, but that's an old lobster or crab trap that's just been modified for it. But the scallops just swim into it, and it's fantastic, and low impact as well, but has required on gear technology such as lights and cameras as well to kind of modify it and iterate, develop it further. There's another really innovative technology that's coming into fisheries at the moment, and it's around ghost gear. And it's MyGearTag, another British company, Suckfish, and it's using acoustic technology. And what you see on the screen there are the tags, and these are like beacons. And you attach these to your fishing gear, and if you lose your fishing gear, then you can find it again by basically looking for your beacon. And the range on this is 3 kilometers, and then it's almost like a honing in process. It takes you closer to it. So this acoustic technology, which traditionally has been used in, the kind of military sectors, is now finding its way to be lower cost and therefore accessible fishing, and been, redeployed into tools such as the one here. So, really game-changing technologies going on here. Moving things forward in fisheries. Okay, I'm coming towards the end, I promise. Well, another really innovative technology that's come onto the market is Genus Wave. It's come out of St. Andrews University and research. We carried out at CMAM Research Unit, and they're looking at ways of avoiding bycatch, and in particular, cetaceans and pinnipeds, seals, dolphins, potentially whales as well. And this technology is not just deafen the animals; it's very, very targeted in terms of frequencies, etc. And it's a start technology, and it's proven quite effective. And I think it's going to be a technology for the future, for sure. So, again, this is down in the water. It's something different, and it's results. So I put AI here at the end because AI has such a major role to play. And it's two images here. One's actually down in the net, and we've got, we're identifying two different species here, as you can see from the colors. And the second one's on a processing conveyor belt on board the vessel. And here we're identifying species, and it could be bycatch or it could be catch, and producing really useful information to the crew and to the companies in terms of catch rate, lead frequency, a lot of market values down to the size. And if you're catching market size, regardless of what industry you're in, then you're making more money. So if you've got that information in the wheelhouse, that's quite helpful too. So we can use this technology not just for clients. It's about how do we make fishing better. Okay, so what about our technologies? That's all great, Tom. What about, you're on here to talk about what you guys do? Yeah, we certainly make technology. It's built for the fishing industry. It's got to be robust. It's got to be agile. We've built, our products have been built very much with fishermen, and a lot of what we see here today is through design by fishermen rather than something that an engineer has dreamt up. Yes, of course, we need the engineers to make things happen, but practicalities of on board, that's the fishermen. That's what they know. That's their world. They know better than anybody else. So, you've got to tick all the boxes as far as they're concerned. It's got to work in their environment. With a little video, I'm going to play it here. Hopefully, it'll play for us. And this video just kind of gives you an example of the kind of treatment that the product will take out in the environment. And these probably aren't necessarily the most challenging of environments, but we need to be able to work in all these places, and you've got to do it time and time again. And it's got to be something that the fishermen don't have to worry about. So it's really important we make this stuff hard, tough, robust, all the things I said there. And that's something we put a lot of time and effort into, time on the water, time on the farm in this case, but also just, speaking to the guys, getting feedback from the fishing, and so on. So what are the benefits of technology then? So I think the key benefit is building on our knowledge base from industry, science, and society generally. And by that, I mean, this all happens underwater. We don't live underwater. We've got a hell of a lot to learn. I'm sure everybody's heard that we know more about what's going on the moon than what we do in the seabed. In some ways, that very much is true. Evidence, absolutely critical to what we're doing today. You have to evidence what you're doing. You have to be able to prove that you're doing it right. It's no good just saying you're doing it. We need evidence. And with evidence, you build trust, and you build loyalty for your brands, etc. So for the evidence, what's that fishing doing, seeing, feeding into the science, etc. is such a big part of kind of fisheries, and we're there with fishermen by that. Precision fishing is a kind of newish concept, but follows on from precision farming, and it's really, as I say here, optimizing, the operation to get the most out of it for the least amount of input. And that's efficiency, but that has positives for the economics of the vessel primarily, but also just the input on the environment. So it's less time here in the water, on the ground, etc., less CO2. So, and the last thing, and something very kind of close to my heart, is understanding how fish behave, and we as humans have an arrogance around, we just think of everything in our terms. Fish are they live in a three-dimensional world. We live in a two-dimensional world. It's been quite hard to get your head around that. But you have to see them in their environments and how they behave, and you can learn a hell of a lot from them. And that's where the technology becomes really, really powerful, for everybody, science, the fishermen, and society as well. Okay, so I've got a couple of quick videos I'm just going to rattle through here. That kind of shows examples of where the technology has been used. So this is an instance where we've got a trawl, and you can see that the gear isn't actually touching the bottom here, and it has to in order to be effective. And there was a chain, and it was underneath the net, and the chain basically is just lifting in this case, net ropes off the seabed, and then they fall into the net. So with this, with that particular instance, by being able to identify the problem, we were able to resolve it quickly. Second one here is it's a lot depends on the kind of seabed you're on, and we've got exactly the same net with exactly the same conditions, with the exception of the seabed we're on. One's muddy, one's sandy, and what we found through the projects we're running with CatchCam a year or two ago was that as the trawl moves across a muddy sediment, a lot of this mud is generated from organic material, such as algae that died, and it's still organic. And when the gear goes across it on the seabed, it fluidizes it, and then that becomes kind of it comes up into the water column, and fish need to breathe that water in order to get the oxygen to be able to swim and survive, etc. But it's very often a kind of it's a slimy type material, and that will lie on the gills, and in essence, it'll stop the fish from being able to absorb the oxygen from the water. And as we saw in the video, the left-hand side, no fish were escaping. There were fish in there, but on the right-hand side, we're seeing loads of fish escaping because they've got the energy, they've got the wherewithal to do it. Whilst on the muddy sediment, they just weren't able. And what you tend to find on that sediment is the fish are dead when you bring up the net. Whilst on the sandy sediment, tend to come up live. So, we're learning things and explaining why certain things happen by actually having things in place. Right, this is an interesting one here. We have a seal in the net on the left-hand side, and we can see a completely different behavior from the fish. On the right-hand side, the fish tend to just drift their way down in the net and are not escaping through the panel on the top. But here with the seal, fish are alerted to the danger and are reacting to it. On the right-hand side, they don't see the danger, therefore there's no need for them to react. So, really interesting fish behavior type stuff. And again, the camera's giving us that insight and allowing us to kind of learn from what's happening down there. And just being able to apply that in the environment in the industry. So future for CatchCam technologies, 100% collaboration. Spoke to every companies, their technologies there. We've worked with a good few of those, and we will continue to work in the future. Quite recently, we've we've signed an agreement with Snapcore in New Zealand, and this will be one of many. We really firmly believe that we've got to work with other people in order to make things happen. We can't do it on our own. Nobody can. But if we bring our expertise together, apply it in the right way, we can make some significant changes going forward. Okay, so what are we working on at the moment? Where's our main focus? The big thing that we're focusing on is a kind of live feed system. Products at the moment are deploy and recover, and you get your data back when it comes back on board. But the moment's passed in a lot of cases. It'd be great to have known that when it happened. So it's how do we get that information into the wheelhouse in real time, and that's using kind of cable systems or acoustic systems, that lifetime feed. In terms of sensoring, we're adding new sensors to our SeaSensors, such as pH and O2, and we'll continue to kind of develop those as the market requires. Very much focused on this whole idea of kind of selecting the right fish and making sure that we're not bringing out up on board that we're going to have to chuck back over the site. That's not efficient. That's not clever. And the way the policy and regulation is going, it'll put you out of business pretty soon. So we've got to improve on that. Monitoring the impact of the fishing gear on the bottom and helping to mitigate that. Absolutely, we've got to reduce our impact on the seabed. And it's going to be more and more challenging for bottom fisheries to fish like they have in the past. So we need to come up with technical solutions to still catch the fish because the market's there, the product's there, but we need to catch it better. We need to learn and improve on that. We're very much focusing as well. Critical point that's kind of I've always known, but it's becoming more and more important is we've got to give the information to the user in a format that they're going to use. And a key thing that was said in a meet I had with a fisherman quite recently was use the word glance. And that's the amount of time we have to get the information in front of him and for him to take it in. So, that creates some real challenges for us. But we're certainly looking at that. And here's an example of another collaboration. This time with a Norwegian company called Sailor's Mate, where we're looking at presenting our information and insights onto something that the fishermen are really familiar with, which is a chart plotter. Every fisherman uses this. It's probably the one tool he'll kind of he'll use more than anything else on the boat. So if we can put our information inside this, make it even better for him, then they'll get more value from it. And that's something that we need to do. So yeah, that's it from me. I'll stop sharing now and I'll take some questions.
Hi, thank you very much for that, Tom. That was thoroughly interesting. We'll move on to questions. It was really good to see how the products work and about the collaborations and partnerships there, and how they all complement each other. And something I'm hearing more and more from everyone, we have these great technologies, but it's about the data. How quickly can people access the data? Who needs the data? Who needs what data at what point throughout the supply chain, etc. So it'll be interesting to hear how that moves on for you. Just to say also, I love the muddy and sandy behavior videos, and it's great to have those insights from sort of fish and sea life behavior as well. So yeah, we can open up to questions. I think for me, I wanted to ask something about how long does it take for the process of the idea into these products and moving through sort of concept to sort of reality and moving it out to market?
That's a good question. I guess to some extent it depends on the complexity of the particular challenge. Certain things can be quite quick, but if I was to give a general answer, I would say a quick turnaround between an idea and getting a product to market would be probably 3 to 4 years. Um, like if we look at, as I mentioned, the Flomo system, that's taken a phenomenal amount of research and development and money, and that project's been running for it's closer to 15 than it is 10 years now. So there's got to be a lot of commitment there, and it's bang the drum on funding as well, many a time, and a lot of the funds available to us, the 12-month funds. It's like, well, you get nothing for 12 months. You need more of that certainty. And what you're trying to do then is kind of go, right, well, we'll do phase one and we'll pay for that with the first year. And then we'll go and look for some more money. And actually what should be 3 years can become 5, 6, 7 years. So yeah, funding has a lot to do with it. And another thing I always refer to is, over 50 years ago, we're putting a man on the moon. Now, a lot of money was invested into that, but we did it. So it's like technically there's not much that's beyond us. It's how willing we are to really invest in it and make it happen. So yeah, 3 years quick turnaround, but probably for a lot of the products you saw there, they're at 10 years, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's good to know. And I think sort of when I started in this, which wasn't that long ago, probably about 10, 11 years ago, with the use of technology to support sustainable fishing, it was almost a nice to have. And now we're seeing it's not that, it's a nice to have, it's necessity through the supply chain. And also the buyers expect this, so consumers expect to be able to see transparency. So there's a real drive for it. I'm going to open up. We've got a question here. I hear you are on the short-term funding point. What does the ideal partnership look like for you?
Okay, well, I'll start by saying the first partner is an industry partner, because yeah, if you haven't got a partner there, then you ain't moving past first base. I think it depends on the particular challenge and what have you. You probably will need other industry or saying other technology partners who can provide expertise in their particular area, because it's generally not just one area of expertise required. We're fortunate, I've been in this industry a long time. I know a lot of people, and most people, once you get to know them, will be happy to kind of lend a hand, but you need to be careful that you don't take that for granted, and people have to make a living, etc. So things don't happen for nothing. So the funding kind of partnership needs to be in there, some way of funding it. And I think something that has really sorely been missing in my experience is the kind of the government partnership. And what do you mean by that, Tom? I mean that, company, like we're profit, well, we're supposed to be a profit making company, rephrase it. But, so that kind of puts us in the private sector, and government are the public sector. And there's a perception in government that actually we're a little bit dirty, and you don't want to be seen to be fraternizing with the private sector, because you could be shown, a preference there to one company over another. And that kind of paranoia has got to a stage now, and has over the last number of years, where there's a disengagement. And there's some really good companies out there that are willing to help governments get to where they need to be. But because of this fear factor, you've got a glass wall or a glass ceiling stopping that happening. And that's not good. So, I think our company would benefit significantly from having better engagement with government to understand where they are going. Or maybe they don't know themselves, and that might be the issue. But having that level of engagement would mean that we would be making better things. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, and so also what you were saying, I think at the beginning you were mentioning Norway as a good example, and so one of the things that we want to do also through SafeVet is shine a light on those examples, those good players, those organizations like yourself and those countries that are leading the way, so that we can see that replication elsewhere, which helps everyone. Have we got any more questions, or does anyone like to put up their hand and ask a question, or have we got any? You can use the Q&A. Everyone's quite quiet today. Sometimes we get lots and lots of questions, and then sometimes it's quite quiet and they all come in post event. So I can see some familiar names there, but I'm not going to call anyone out to ask if they've got a question. But is there anyone else who would like to ask a question about their future work? Maybe there's a question around where else internationally you'd be looking to work in the future.
Yeah, we're a British company, but we kind of work pretty much anywhere around the world. I think the tech that we're developing is not cheap. That's a challenge because there's people we know that can't afford it, and would like to be able to do more to kind of help on that front. And in time, I'm sure we will be able. But yeah, we really are kind of open to kind of working anywhere. There aren't any no goes. It's more generally around the kind of financial viability in various fisheries, and some are, you get your return on investment a lot quicker than you will in others.
Yeah, and so I guess I know CatchCam's been a great organization that's been around for a while. What was your, just on a personal level, what was your personal sort of interest in moving this forward? Do you come from like a coastal area, or was it sort of the technology side?
I grew up fishing and on boats, and from an early age, I was on deck, and business was beneath the water, and I was like, well, what's going on down there? I was just, if I knew, I could do better, and that kind of always drove me. It's just fascinating to know what life would be like down there. So yeah, that's always been really interesting to me, and I know from a career, I obviously worked with a number of fishermen and hearing the issues, etc. And right, okay, there's an opportunity here if you deliver good products and services that we can help with this. It's ultimately that's really why we do it. We're not here to get rich quick, because that's not going to happen. Very disappointed. But the thing that, yeah, the most satisfying things are when you see results coming from the technology and your work. And like you say, the sediment thing, that was, to the best of my knowledge, nobody knew that. And it took a lot of frustrating hours and everything else to try and figure out, because I was banging my fists on the galley table going, why the hell aren't these fish getting out? Well, I can see them there. Yesterday they were jumping out, and today they're just not having it. And it was like, and then I was speaking to the skipper in this case, and we were tuning it over, and well, what's different? It's different. And looking at the tide and all the rest of it. So, well, we're actually, yesterday we're on this bit. And okay, right, well, let's have a look at that. And that's how we kind of crack this. So yeah, that's really, really kind of satisfying. And that's been a kind of big driver. And I guess we need more of it. We absolutely do need more of it because, the challenges for our industry are there to be seen, and we need to start coming up with answers to keep fishing going and keep the food on the table.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. And I think those examples, like you say, being able to see those and globally being able to see examples, what's happening elsewhere in the world and how we can apply that and vice versa. I think the key thing is collaboration. There's another question here. I think you can probably read the questions as well, but I'll read it out to you. In your experience, do you find that it is mainly industry coming to you with ideas and solutions to problems, or are projects, concepts initiated by others, including CatchCam?
Um, it's a mix. I think industry tend to, like, fishermen tend to come up with problems, um, and go find a solution. Uh, what Yeah, like I've worked in academia as well, and I'm not going to criticize the model, but there's a lot of stuff happening in ivory towers there that can be, let's just say, a little bit moved from the reality on the ground. Need that in certain areas, but when it comes to our industry, yeah, the some of the kind of theory, well, a lot of work goes in, without necessarily any involvement from the catching sector, but that's changing. And I think there is a realization that it needs to be a lot tighter, and again, it's the collaboration point. We all have to work together on it. The fisherman can't do it because he's got a full-time job catching fish, and the technology companies can't do it on their own, because if you develop a solution and then have to go and look for the problem, then you haven't got business. So, really, it needs to be, all the players coming together, and the problem's got to come. We've got to know what the problem is to solve, and people that know the problem best generally are the fishermen. But government and policy can also be very useful to say, right, well, actually, we need to change, and this is going to create a problem by doing this change. Therefore, we need to kind of on that, and that's where the dialogue government becomes quite important as well. So, yeah, I think it's a mix, but definitely I think the best place to start generally is with the fishermen and the industry, because then you're generally on the right lines to solving a real problem.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess also there's a lot of problems out there that doesn't need AI or doesn't need a huge lift. There's a lot of issues, sort of port, etc., of just being able to make information easily accessible and just drive down sort of processing or identification times and things like that, which makes a huge difference to resource, etc. And then we look at your part with your products, etc., and how they can be used by fishers, etc., but also by the scientific community as well. So it's that sort of multi-purpose, and how they also sort of collaborate with other technologies as well that are out there. And you named a few that you were working with. Have we got any other questions for Tom today? And if you think of something that comes up in the next hour or so, or whenever, or 4 o'clock in the morning whilst you're lying there, then you can always message through the Fish Tech Connect platform. But I feel like I'm at an auction house. I'm gonna ask one more time. Is there any further questions today, or any comments or any ideas for Tom and his team, or any thoughts about connections or ideas how the technology can be used and developed? Then yeah, we'd love to hear those. So I'm going to check the raise hands and the QA. And it's fairly quiet. Okay, so what I'll do then, we have 10 minutes, but unless Tom, unless there's something else, if you would like to do a shout out, or if there's anything else that you would like to, certain partners or anything, sort of pilots coming up, or anything that you'd like to tell us, or news or launches.
Well, we're constantly kind of working on developments. I think, as I mentioned in the presentation, live feeds going to be a feature going forward, and I think that'll open up a number of opportunities as kind of people become aware of the potential that will bring. The AI thing and is mind-boggling what can be achieved, but equally, it's not magic. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of development. Um, and, you've got a bit like using ChatGPT. I'm sure most of us now do that. Anybody can use it, but to get good use from it, you've got to ask it the right questions. So it's not the solution on its own. You need people there to understand what the issues are, and then can turn that into the right questions, and then deploy the technology and develop the technology to answer those questions in an efficient way. But I certainly can see enormous opportunity, particularly in this, the science side of things, where we are struggling for data. The process of putting scientists out on fishing boats and into harbors and these places to collect data, you can't get people to do that now. And actually, is that the best use of the resource? You've got highly trained people here getting to know. So actually, can we use the technology to gather a lot of this data? And I think that there's an enormous opportunity there. I think with that data, then science will get better. And the benefit then is for everybody, society, the fishermen, etc. So, the fishermen will complain, well, the quote was up there that last year, it's dropped down there and then it's back up. And that's just uncertainty within science. So if we can be better at collecting data and gather it and using fishing vessels as a kind of conduit for that, then brilliant. And the technology, I think, will open many doors there. And in the future, I very much see us, having very selective fisheries, deploying the technology where we're in the right place, the right time. If that's the wrong species, we can let it go. The catch welfare side of things, the animals are well cared for. You get top quality product. So you maximize the return on the vessel, you minimize the cost of the vessel because you're not wasting resources. We're not leaving the gear out there. We're recovering any lost fishing gear. We've come a long way. There's no doubt about it, but there's always room for improvement. And I could see technology in the future, making that easier for the fishermen to kind of bridge that gap. So yeah, the future's bright, and let's not forget food. We need food, shelter, to survive as a species. And fish is the finest food you're going to get. So, we're not going away. This industry is not going away, but we are in for a period of change going forward. And please God, it's changed for the better.
I think that was a great message to end on there. And I know we're nearing the hour. So yes, I just want to say again, thank you ever so much to Tom for today, and thank you to CatchCam. If you'd like to contact Tom afterwards, then go through Fish Tech Connect, or you can email Tom. And Tom, that's contact@catchcam.com. That's correct.
Yep, you'll
Yeah.
get around that one.
And thank you everyone for attending today. And so the video, you'll be able to see this recording within the next 24 hours and then continue chat from there. If you would like to present, if you want to share a project or a solution, a challenge, if you're an expert in a certain area, then don't hesitate to reach out to me. We can find a way of sharing what you would like to say through Fish Tech Connect, and whether that's through Tom has chosen a webinar today or a recorded conversation, a blog, a workshop, SafeVet's here to support the share of that information. So for now, I'll say goodbye and have a lovely afternoon, evening, wherever,
Morning.
whatever. And thank you very much again for joining us, and thank you, Tom.
You're very welcome. Thank you for that. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye all.